If there's one thing every car guy hates, it's cleaning the garage. Do you want to take most of the time and hassle out of that job? Then call Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Agnes and her crew will have your garage, shop, basement, or even your porch looking great all the time. With unique patterns and designs, plus the ability to incorporate your logo or any artwork, your space will never have looked better. Installation is done in 1 day, guaranteed, and Zone Garage offers a 20-year warranty on the top coat. Their coatings are durable, anti-slipped, and impact resistant. Give them a call at 570-856-6067. That's 570-856-6067 for Zone Garage of Eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Have you joined the fastest growing fantasy motorsports app yet? On Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP, or any of their athletes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where tonight the Grid Rival ESRA INDYCAR series will take to the Brickyard for a 120-lap feature event. And qualifying, just getting ready to get out on the racetrack now. But I'll tell you a little bit about the race course here. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to have you joining us this evening, and I will be joined momentarily here by Patrick Byrne, but first, like we said, let's tell you a little bit about the racetrack here, located in Speedway, Indiana, just outside of the great city of Indianapolis, 2.5 miles in length, 9 degrees, 12 minutes of banking in the corners, opened in 1909. The Brickyard is one of those places that it gives you goosebumps, it makes memories, it truly is everything that a race driver and a race fan wants in a facility. This is round number 4 of the ESRA IndyCar Series Championship presented by Grid Rival. Cautions are controlled by the admins tonight. There are humans controlling those. Restarts will be single file. Drivers do have one backup car at their disposal. And let's bring in Patrick Byrne into the booth here as we get ready to tell you a little bit about the race cars as well. But I tell you what, Patrick, we got to see an absolutely incredible Indy 500 in the real world here this past weekend, and now we're going to get to do it again tonight.
Oh, for sure. These cars always put on an awesome show here. There's a reason they call them Indy cars, and this facility right here is it. So no matter what, we're guaranteed to have a good event put on tonight.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this one in a pretty big way. The Dallara IR18 is a 2.2-liter turbocharged V6. In the real world, manufactured by Chevrolet and Honda, they are unbranded on the iRacing service, making on the lower to mid-range of that 550 to 700 horsepower number here at the Brickyard. Top speeds in excess of 230 miles an hour, and we will see every bit of that top speed here this evening. One of the things we're really looking forward to, and we will keep you abreast of throughout the night, is the pit strategy game that we're going to see. Fuel windows going to be anywhere from 22 to maybe 25, 27 laps is kind of what we're thinking is maybe an absolute top out. But teams are going to have 5 sets of tires. I don't know that they're going to use them all necessarily. If we only go the 4 stops that would be necessary. As we mentioned, they do have the backup car. And Patrick, you can make a stop here under green without losing a lap if you do it just right.
Yeah, if you're towards the front of the field, if you're the leader, maybe all the way back down the 4th or 5th position, you can afford to dive into the pits and come back. You'll be at the tail end of the lead lap, but you won't go that full lap down. So if the caution does come out, you'll retain your spot on the lead lap.
Going to pick up Mario Miranda as he makes his way off at turn number 2 and down the 5/8 mile back straightaway. Charles Teed, AJ Muscleman, going to be at the top of the charts right now, 39.45, the quick time for Charles Teed. We'll pull those up so you can see where your favorite driver is running so far this evening. 28 cars is what it looks like we're going to have taking time here. This is a pretty big field here, Patrick, and we saw them 4 wide, 2 rows deep at the start of the real Indy 500. I don't know how good of a strategy that's going to be here on the iRacing side of things, though.
Yeah, I don't see them going more than 2 wide. It is possible. We did see a bunch of it in practice, but it is a good deal slower. You don't want to give up that track position to the car behind you. If you're sitting 2 wide with another car, a third car can easily come in and pass you both on the straightaway. You guys are that much slower. So it'll be interesting to see what these drivers do, what they try to do to advance their position, and who ends up on top at the end of it.
Yeah, and we saw a fantastic race 2 weeks ago for the ESRA IndyCar series at Watkins Glen International, and Matt Wagner picking up the win in that one by 13 seconds over J.W. Miller. William Reinhardt rounding out the podium. James Watson, Sebastian Kinder with a fantastic run as well to complete the top 5, and it led to a pretty big shakeup in the point standings. Matt Wagner opened his gap up. James Watson moved up 1 spot to be second in points, but he's almost 70 points back of Matt Wagner here for the points lead after 3 races. Benjamin Combs, Charles Teed, and J.W. Miller, your top 5. Miller moving up 14 positions in the points. Jay Shallington, Sebastian Kinder, Nicholas Wilson, Chris Wilhite, and Jeff Destino, your top 10. On the team side of things, Team Watson Racing with a very handy lead here in this one, sitting on 96 points, 64 points in second place is Team Ball Racing. Torque Wrench Motorsports on 48 markers sits in third. Mediocre Motorsports and Lights Out Esports are the top 5 in points. Drivers have a total of about 10 minutes to get their cars qualified here, and some may be using this time to get some last-minute changes in. Looks like we haven't yet seen Matt Wagner out on the racetrack yet. Also, Casey Knight and Jim Brooks and Jeff Destino, but here comes Matt Wagner making his way out onto the racetrack now. That very Robert Wickens-esque paint scheme. Pretty cool livery there on the number 11 machine. 24 cars have taken time. You can see top 9 and then 19 through 24 on your screen. We'll follow along here with Matt Wagner. Get you the close-up look at that machine as he makes his way around the 2.5 mile oval. Pretty quick in the second half of the racetrack. We'll see what he's going to do here in the first half. The start-finish line at Indianapolis is a little bit further down towards turn number 1. So the sectors that you'll see on your screen are basically from the start-finish line to just before the entrance of turn 3, and then from that marker back around to the start-finish line. Jeff Destino also making his way out onto the racetrack. Wagner's going to go personal best, but not quickest overall. Let's see what he's looking at here in terms of a lap time. His first lap's going to put him 8th on the speed charts, 39.52 seconds for Matt Wagner.
I wouldn't count him out. At this track, you do see a lot of the faster laps coming on the second lap just because of how much speed you can wind up into the car. He actually goes slower, though.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And
coming to a stop on the back straightaway is Matt Wagner, so he's totally going to throw that one out the window here. You almost wonder, Patrick, there is a little bit of variability in terms of the weather conditions here. I would tend to think there's the potential for a little bit of speed in the track late in the session, maybe you're going to wait until there's, almost basically 60 seconds remaining to get your car back out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, wind is especially important here at this track. You almost want to go when there's a big wind pushing you either out of 1 or out of 3. Get that jump into the second turn of the right after the short chute so you can get a run down the straightaway. You don't want a big headwind or tailwind going down any of the big straightaways, purely because if you have a big tailwind going down the back stretch, you're going to have that same big headwind coming down the front stretch, and that'll end up slowing you down. You want almost no wind or just a little bit pushing you through the short chutes.
Yeah, it's almost like they're hoping for a cloud here. Currently 71 degrees is the ambient temperature. Very little wind to speak of. Partly cloudy conditions is what the iRacing service is reporting to us. A track temperature of 116 degrees. I would tend to think that that's not going to be real conducive to big speed here, and maybe getting out early was the ticket. Looks like Casey Knighton and Jim Brooks will not be able to get a lap in here, as neither of those cars have entered pit lane. And we're down to about 30 seconds left. You won't have time to get all the way around to the start-finish line to get a lap moving. Same is true for everybody else. Qualification results will be set here. And we will be ready to grid up and go racing here in just a couple of moments. While we have the time here, I want to make sure we say a big thank you here to the title sponsor of the ESRA Grid Rival IndyCar Series, Grid Rival. Check out the app on the App Store. I actually just downloaded it a little bit ago. Pretty cool. It's basically an F1 and a MotoGP fantasy game. Pretty cool. You pick your roster of drivers, pick your manufacturer, stay under the allocated budget limit, and gives you something to scream at your buddies about while you're watching the race. Also want to remind everybody, you can check in on Facebook and YouTube in the comments section. We can see them. We will do our best to get them up on the air for you. But cars are gridding up. It is just about time to go racing here at the world's greatest race course. Let's set the starting grid for tonight's race. Starting on the pole will be Charles Teed out of Dark Horse Racing. Ty Richter will line up alongside of him on the front row. Row number 2 is going to have AJ Musselman and Alexander Ball. Mario Miranda and Chris Wilhite will make up row number 3. Row 4, Zach Rinker and Matt Wagner. Gary Corley, Benjamin Combs in row number 5. Row 6 will see Francis Sebastian Kinder line up alongside the Virginia's Jay Shallington. Row 7, KC Duncan and James Watson out of Ohio. A little bit of a surprise to see Watson back there in the 14th position. He was pretty quick during the practice session. Isaac Bach of Mediocre Motorsports and Texas native Alex Ress will make up row number 8. Row 9 is going to have Brian Voles and Alec Coates. Row 10, Cullen Johnston and Tyler Hunt. Torque Wrench Motorsports driver Scott Wise will start on the inside of row number 11. His outside will be New York's Jason Hand. TJ McMurray and Henry Brycecorn in row number 12. Jeff Destino, Nicholas Wilson in row number 13. Casey Knighton and Jim Brooks will make up the 14th and final row here for tonight's grid rival, ESRA Indy 120. Love it that we're seeing some comments already starting to pour in here. Let's get them up as we get ready to go racing here. Ethan Beverly checking in saying, let's go Isaac. Joe Miranda showing a little bit of love here for Mario. Piloting that 99 machine. Mario, one of the very aggressive drivers in the series, Patrick. Here at Indianapolis, it's almost one of those places where being aggressive can be a blessing and it can be a curse in a pretty big way.
Oh, absolutely. At this track, it is very, very difficult to make moves. You got to send it into there. You have to kind of dive below people, force them to the high side, but at the same time, with how narrow the racing surface actually is, one slip up when making a move like that can take you and many other competitors out of the race. So it'll be fun to see if he can make some moves and get his way to the front of this one.
Yeah, that's one of the things for sure that we're looking forward to seeing here. And getting ready, field's going to make their way down the back straightaway. 2x2 start this time. This is a regular season race for the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar series, and basically you don't want to jeopardize anything trying to pull off a 3-wide start here in the races that count. Through the short chute and onto the front straightaway. Absolutely love getting to call a race here at the world's greatest race course. Off of turn number 4, Charles Teed and Ty Richter will bring the field down to green, and pace cars in. The start of the ESRA Indy 120 is all yours, race fans. Trouble towards the back of the pack. Several cars going to end up wadded up here. Caution immediately flies. Trouble on the racetrack. Looks like Casey Duncan may have been one of the cars involved there. Get you the hot shoe racewear instant replay. See what happened here back in the pack. Duncan just lost it all by himself. One car collected towards the back of the pack. Duncan going to have to jump to the pit area. He'll take the tow. We'll see who the other driver is that's going to try to limp his way around here. Looks like it may have been Henri Brycecorn. Oh, no, there you go. It's Cullen Johnston making his way down the pits. Left front damage on that machine. Now, he has the backup car available to him, but I tell you what, Patrick, lap 1 is not when you want to be using the backup car.
Yeah, it's with how difficult this track is, with all the incidents we've seen trying to enter pit road, I would much rather have had the used backup car because I messed up entering the pits rather than having to use it this early in the race. But it's fortunate only 2 cars were involved in that. This early in the race with that many cars behind them, this could have been a much, much larger incident. So they're both going to get back on track and go try it again.
Yeah, that one could have been an absolute mess. That is for sure. And now working lap number 3 on the scoreboard here. Let's swap out the time for the lap counter, so you can see exactly how far into this race we are. And not a lot of change here at the front of the field. Charles Teed, AJ Musselman, Mario Miranda picking up a couple of spots on the initial start. Ty Richter is going to lose a couple in that exchange. Alexander Ball winding up your top 5. Matt Wagner, Chris Wilhite, Zach Rinker, and Gary Corley. Little bit of an interesting look here. Several cars at the back of the pack electing to come down pit road here. And I would tend to think, Patrick, you really didn't burn much fuel, but with the limit set at 80%, that really could be a big strategy call late in the race.
Yeah, they might have some math working, or might just want that extra safety factor for this first set of pit stops, maybe wait it out another lap or two, see if a caution does come out with the car losing it coming into pit road. Then they can get a free caution without going a lap down. Or free pit stop, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you sort of have to at least keep in the back of your mind of how can you best utilize the resources at your disposal. In some instances, that's going to be getting the early pit stop out of the way and trying to play the strategy game. I would imagine coming from the back of the pack, you could be at, fuel map 3, maybe even fuel map 4, and really save a ton of fuel over the course of the run. Now, all the excitement we had of the initial race start, that's sort of, I don't want to say it goes away here, Patrick, because the lights are out on the iRacing safety car, but now this start has much more of the feel of just hit your marks, as opposed to really worrying about kind of who's going nuts all the way around you. This is start to find your groove at this point.
Yeah, I imagine everyone's just going to try and settle in, try and tick some laps down, and let the racing come along later on in the race. I was just doing some quick math. It looks like with a 27, if you can make it 27 laps on each pit stop, to make it to the end of the race, you would want to make your first pit stop on lap 39. With them pitting this early, they can push their first stop a little bit further and maybe take less fuel on that to try and hit that lap 39 number, which might gain them some track position on that set of green flag pit stops. So it's interesting to see what's already happening this early in the race.
Yeah, especially we saw a lot of issues that were very reminiscent of the real-world Indy 500 of drivers having issues getting the car down to pit road speed. All it takes is one wreck coming onto pit road, and now those cars that were at the back, they are going to be able to make their stop under yellow and hopefully cycle themselves towards the front. Fields making their way down the front straightaway. Green flag goes back in the air. Oh, we've got a couple of cars, looks like potentially having an issue back in the pack here. Charles Teed going to fall back to the third position. AJ Muscleman to the race lead. He's going to have Mario Miranda on his wing off at turn number 2.
Oh, Mario Miranda is looking to take the lead of this race. He wants to lead as many laps as possible. I'm hoping to see a crazy move come out of him like we see every week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure here, and maybe already seeing some of the strategy plays start to develop here, because we've got about an 8-car breakaway at the front of the field, then a second group starting to already develop. Top 5 have all settled in, but it's going to be a pretty good fight back there for 6th. Chris Wilhite coming around Alexander Ball. A little bit further back in the pack, Benjamin Combs comes around Zach Rinker. As having driven these cars pretty recently, how much of the early laps is feeling out what you have, kind of getting your roll bars and your weight tracker dialed in where you want it, and then you can really start to make the car?
A lot of it is just getting comfortable in the car. These cars, especially in the draft, are very, very difficult to drive. Not in the sense that they're trying to kill you like a sprint car is, but they just don't want to turn. So you really want to get it dialed in, get it to where you're comfortable with the way it turns, get it so you can actually get a run and start to pass people. As we see Ty Richter making the pass on the outside of Mario Miranda, looking for the lead, not going to get it.
Not just yet, but Richter going to slide wide on the front straightaway. Everybody goes with him. New race leader, Ty Richter. I don't even know that I want to try to keep track of lead changes here at the line because they're going to be coming pretty frequently. It's something that you commented on during the practice session is maybe a little bit of a connection issue there for AJ Muscleman. The two cars running side by side can be quick, but the big beneficiary are the cars that are running directly behind them because they just have a huge hole punched in the air.
Oh yeah, if AJ Musselman and Ty Richter get side by side again, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Mario Miranda step back a little bit, wait to get a huge run, and you'll pass those two cars like they're standing still, take it 3 wide for all of a split second.
Charles Teed getting a little antsy back there as well in the 4th position. Chris Wilhite fighting right back there with him as the top 5 going to start to break away here. Ty Richter settles into the 2nd position. Miranda looks to his outside. He's going to bring Wilhite with him through 3. Good 5-car battle here at the front of the field. They're side by side for the 6th position as well. That's going to be Matt Wagner and Alexander Ball as Ty Richter once again comes through to the race lead on the racetrack for Nicholas Wilson. Get you a Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See what happened to Wilson's machine. Big slide. Oh, man. What a piece of driving. I don't know who that was that came around him. Jason Hand. Wow. Well done, Jason. We come back and the race leaders are still side by side. They may do this for the next 20 laps or so here until we get to the first round of pit stops. Patrick, is there something to be said for Mario Miranda maybe playing the strategy game a little bit here? Just sit in the draft and suck along at 3/4 throttle?
Yeah, I was just going to say that huge hole in the air that those two cars punch can work in your favor. Not so much for the speed, but if you back off, it's like tailgating a semi-truck down the highway. You can just put it in neutral and coast behind them and use absolutely no fuel at all. If one car is going to try and go 30 laps on the on their first pit stop, I think it's going to be Mario Miranda doing this.
It'll be interesting to see, that's for sure, as Chris Wilhite comes around Miranda off at turn number 4. He'll continue the fight down the front straightaway and into turn number 1. Already 12 laps on the board after the lap 1 incident. Now looking at a pretty sustained green flag run here. And as a reminder, the drivers are running on 80% fuel loads. That is the maximum allowed by the race control. It shortens the pit windows in a pretty big way. Basically takes the 200-lap race at full fuel and condenses it down by cutting about 20% of the fuel off. You cut about 20% of the distance off as well. Miranda looks to the inside into turn number 1. Not a lot of way to fight back there for AJ Muscleman, but he tucks right back in on the rear wing. I'll tell you what, Patrick, that's the really difficult part of that is the fact that you just lose every bit of grip on the front end of your race car when that happens.
Yeah, it's really scary when that happens too, especially in the mid-corner if someone comes down on you, because the car will just plow straight up almost into the wall. If you don't get some clean air on that nose, you either have to get off the gas, hit the brakes, or hit the wall. You have no other choice.
A fantastic battle here at the front of the field. How about 2x2 for the first 4 positions?
I was going to say, Ty Richter almost looked like he wanted to take it 3 wide going in the 1 there.
And here's the neat thing about this. Back to 17th place Isaac Monk. Everybody is within about 0.2 of a second of each other. We'll slide back here, pick up Scott Wise and Alex Ress. the fight for the lead is really good, but I tell you what, the racing throughout the pack is pretty exceptional here, and no real surprise there. These ESRA IndyCar guys are really some of the best on iRacing.
Yeah, there's a reason we've seen a couple of real-world IndyCar drivers stop in the series, come for a race or two, because the level of talent in the series is just so exceptionally high that even the real-world guys can't resist sometimes.
The muscle man back to the front of the field. Chris Wilhite comes around Ty Richter with ease. Man, that car showed great speed into turn 3 that time. Going to try to fight for the race lead here. Approaching lap number 15, actually lap 16 going up on the scoreboard. Seeing our buddy Chad Irvine checking in saying, go fast, turn left. Yes, that is exactly what we're doing right here, Chad.
Yeah, you have no choice but to go fast and turn left here. If you're not going fast, you're losing. And if you try and make a right turn, there's a pretty solid concrete barrier. Actually, they have safer barrier the whole way around this track that you'll hit.
Yeah, you're going to hit something hard and in a very big way. That's kind of the point there. With the exception of Nicholas Wilson and Casey Duncan, everybody remains on the lead lap. The leaders serpentine their way down the front straightaway. New race leader at the line, Chris Wilhite. I'll tell you what, Patrick, this show is as pretty close to spot on as what we saw this past Sunday in the real world. It is an absolute talent to be able to do this. The drivers that do it in the real world get themselves accustomed to it. The differences that you deal with on the iRacing platform, or any virtual platform for that matter, is you still have the real world distractions. You don't have the full immersion and seat of your pants feel, and this really is incredibly difficult to do.
Yeah, especially since there's no threat of getting injured or hurt in the simulator. You oftentimes see a lot of guys making moves that wouldn't happen in the real world, and it usually just ends up in a big wreck. And it's awesome to see that these guys are fully dialed in, running the right lines, not getting into each other, and so far it's been an absolutely fantastic show.
Going to put lap number 19 on the board. Yes, Chad. Should have been there with you guys last weekend. Patrick, going to what, your first Indy 500 this past weekend?
Yeah, it's my second time to Indianapolis, the city, but unfortunately my first time I never saw the Speedway, so I had to go this year and go watch the races, and it was one of the best 500s I have ever seen. Obviously my best one in person, but even watching it on TV, none has ever excited me as much as this past Sunday.
Yeah, it's a heck of a show for sure. We're seeing a heck of one right now. Here is Chris Wilhite going to dive to the inside of AJ Muscleman down the front straightaway. Wilhite has the lead at the line. Muscleman going to fight back into turn number 1, but he's got to fall in line. I tell you what, we're seeing a lot of the same stuff of how do you make the slingshot pass work. You can get it done if you start it into turn 3. You can just about get the pass completed at the start-finish line. So now watch Chris Wilhite here. He'll tuck, or at least he should tuck back in line. He's going to get the huge toe down the front straightaway. And there's the margin of victory at the line. About 6/100ths of a second. I mean, these guys can do this every lap, it feels like. We'll trade the lead twice a lap.
This is just like what we saw last Sunday for the battle for the lead, where they were just going back and forth every single lap. And that's one of the great things about Indy is these straightaways are so long, you can just build up such a huge run. There's nothing the leader can do to stop you.
Seeing Brandon Ishkanian. Sorry if I screwed your name up there, bud. Giving a lot of love to the RRL guys that run for Mediocre Motorsports and Team Watson Racing. Very much for tuning in with us here this evening. Make sure you all give the video a like and a share if you like the racing that you're seeing here, because I don't want anybody to miss the conclusion of this one coming up here in just under 100 laps. Pit window's pretty close to getting open here. It'll be interesting to see if the leaders have to make their stops several laps ahead of everybody else. It was a strategy play we saw work at Indianapolis last weekend. You may see it here tonight. Chris Wilhite, one of your hard chargers of the race. He's up 5 spots from the drop of the green flag. James Watson's up 4 to the 10th position. Scott Wise up 8 to run in 13th. Jim Brooks up 7, running in the 21st position. So good runs for those cars. Slide back in the pack here a little bit, pick up another battle. This one between Sebastian Kinder and Alec Coates. Kinder on the outside. He will have the Team Watson Racing colors on the front wing, French tricolor on his rear wing. Coates just back behind. Take a look here, see what paint scheme that Alec is running this weekend. This looks like some throwback style Valvoline colors there.
I was going to say, it looks like I can kind of make out a Valvoline logo on it. It's an awesome paint scheme. I miss seeing the old Valvoline cars from the 90s.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon definitely put on a show with some of those cars for Walker Racing. Trouble on the racetrack for Jeff Destino. And we may have lost. Oh, here we go. Here's your first taker down pit road. It's going to be AJ Muscleman. So, pit window is open here at lap number 25. We'll see if anybody has to come around and take the pit road penalty here. Back to the front of the field. Chris Wilhite, once again, staying here at the front. Charles Teed going to look inside of Ty Richter. Richter slams the door in the middle of turn number 1.
I'm going to be real surprised here if Chris Wilhite doesn't need to come into the pit lane this lap. I mean, all that battling, all that staying in the front, there's no way he wasn't in the first fuel map, which is your high fuel burn, high power map, and all that dirty air up front, as we do see him and a bunch of other cars pulling into the pits.
Yeah, a bunch of the leaders making their way down pit road. Oh, there was contact. There was contact there. Ty Richter, he's going to have the right front just about sheared off that race car. There you see it on that blue Oracle machine. Tough break for Ty Richter. He's going to have to take the backup car out here early on in this one. That will promote Matt Wagner to the race lead now.
It's not necessarily a completely bad thing. I did say if I wanted to take the backup car anytime in this race, it would be making a mistake entering the pits.
Taking a look here, the Team Watson Racing flotilla is making their way down the pit road here, led by Benjamin Combs. James Watson also in. Sebastian Kinder is in. So coordinated pit stops here. That's going to be really important when you're talking about not losing the draft.
Yeah, if all those guys can stay together, it'll really help them if they can all stay coordinated in a line. They all should make it back up to the front of this field, probably better than any of the other teams on track.
Race leader Matt Wagner now making his way down pit road along with Alexander Ball, Jay Shallington. And again, as a reminder, drivers only have 80% fuel, so we're kind of right in the ballpark of where these pit stops are going to need to occur. So far, Jim Brooks is the only car on the racetrack that has not made a pit stop in this cycle, and that's because Brooks stopped on lap number 2. We will see him come down pit road this time, and that will cycle the race lead back to Chris Wilhite. Wilhite with a 1.3 second lead over Ty Richter.
And it looks like he has a car to draft with now, so it's going to be very, very difficult for Ty Richter to make up that gap and try and get back into the lead.
Yeah, it seems like one of the interesting ones here is that Benjamin Combs seemed to get separated out from his teammates just a little bit. Combs currently running in the 6th position. Zach Rinker, James Watson, Gary Corley, all the cars that stopped back together, they're running about in the 10th position. However, they are running as a group. Talking about the draft, Ty Richter just set the fastest lap of the race at a 40.77 second lap time. This lap traffic coming out to unlap himself around the race leader. That's going to allow Richter to catch up just a little bit. Matt Wagner not too far behind as well. Really, Patrick, seeing how critical the in-laps and out-laps are going to be for all of these drivers. You've really got to hit your marks coming into pit road, maximize your pit entry speed without catching a penalty, and then at the same time, you got to be just as quick on the out-lap as well.
Yeah, the outlap is just as difficult as coming into the pits here at Indy, just because of how narrow that pit access road is. If you make one slip up on there, you're in the grass on either side, and that's going to send you spinning around, and your race is pretty much over at that point.
That best lap time for Ty Richter, 220.751 miles per hour. So a little bit off of what we saw in qualifications, but I'll tell you what, these guys are still turning laps at a pretty quick clip. Anticipating our next round of pit stops, anywhere lap 51 to lap 54. Pretty decent fuel save for the cars that were able to make it to lap 28. Of those cars, though, only Matt Wagner is able to keep it inside the top 5. Everybody else opening up that pretty substantial gap. Alexander Ball is the next car that stopped on lap 28. He's currently running in the 8th position, about 3.5 seconds back of the race leaders.
I was going to say, it looks like Ty Richter was just looking to sit back and save fuel, try and get the jump on Chris Wilhite on the next round of pit stops. But Mario Miranda looks like he's trying to push the issue and force one of them into running a little bit faster, a little bit out of their comfort zone.
That's really something that the drivers that are running 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, they can choose to run this race a couple of ways now. They can settle in, save a ton of fuel, or they can go the other direction and really force the leader's hands. Almost, we'll pick a Benjamin Combs, for example. If he's able to get to the front of the field and be the rabbit, that could be all that the rest of the team needs when they're all back here sitting conserving fuel. You could theoretically shorten this race by a pit stop.
Benjamin Combs looking really, really antsy back there. I see him bobbing and weaving, trying to find just some kind of opening to get around those two cars.
Let's slide back in the pack here as we've got another good battle brewing. This is James Watson in 10th. Gary Corley looking to his outside down the back straightaway. Alex Ress, Zach Rinker, Scott Wise all going to be in that fight as well. I tell you what, Patrick, this is an entirely different level of intensity here. These drivers at some point, you can only white knuckle for so long. You can only have the big grip on the wheel for so long before you really have a problem.
I was going to say, this looks a lot like a NASCAR stock car style plate race, but with a lot faster and a lot more delicate race cars. So I'm crossing my fingers that we don't get one, but I'm kind of anticipating a big one coming out of this pack specifically.
Really able to come around Watson in turn number 2. We'll hold on to the spot through turn 3. Slide a little bit further forward here. Pick up Jay Shallington and Alexander Ball fighting for the 7th position. This race ticking by at an absolute horrid pace. 30 minutes into this one, we're already through 38 laps. Only one caution flag on lap number 2. Solo spin, I believe, may have been Casey Duncan that had the early issue. 5 cars currently being scored 1 lap down to the race leaders. That would be the cars of Brian Valls, Nicholas Wilson, Jeff Destino, Casey Duncan, and Isaac Mott. All 27 cars still on the racetrack. The top 6 have not gotten away from each other whatsoever. Here comes Watson looking back to the inside of Corley into turn number 3. One of the things about the setups that these drivers are using tonight, Patrick, is not only does the setup feel good enough to run in the corners on the high side with speed, but you can even get almost up to that 3rd lane if you really get into a bind. In the real world, that is a surefire way to end up buried in the safety area.
Yeah, this track is just so loose up there, and not loose in that the car wants to come around. There's just absolutely no traction up there. It's where all the marbles end up. It's really impressive to see these cars running as high as they are. Usually you see them right on that apron on the bottom line, which means we have a pretty good, pretty racy setup on these cars today, because all this 2-wide racing, I don't think I've ever seen it even in the real world. Cars 2 wide for this long around this track.
Yep, this is the 2nd large pack of cars. Top 6 have broken away by 4.5 seconds over 7th place Jay Shallington. You have Shallington and Ball that are running together. Then it's another 5 seconds back to AJ Musselman running in the 9th position. We'll pick him up here as he makes his way through turn number 4. Musselman, one of the early race leaders. However, big lockup getting onto pit road definitely cost him some time, and you can see where that's playing out here. Alexander Ball coming around Jay Shallington, James Watson continuing his battle. Here are your race leaders, and we haven't gotten to do this one since the drop of the green flag here, Patrick. How about we give the fans at home a chance to crank it up?
Oh, absolutely.
number 44 on the scoreboard. Chris Wilhite, still your race leader. Things have definitely settled down here at the front of the field. Not seeing all the big lead changes. You wonder if Wilhite is going to have to stop a little bit earlier than everybody else, just by the fact that he's been out front of this group the entire night. Ty Richter, Mario Miranda, Charles T, Benjamin Combs, your top 5.
I was just running a little bit of math. It looks like Chris Wilhite's going to need to pit about lap 50, 51, maybe lap 52 if he can stretch it. Where the rest of these cars that pit on lap 26 can make the lap 53, 54, even 55 if they're saving. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Chris Wilhite returning back to the lead unless one or more cars do pit with him.
You find out who your friends are in a pretty big way when a victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is on the line. Slide back, pick up the second large pack of cars that we have running here down the straightaway. Alex Ress now at the head of it. James Watson, Scott Wise, Gary Corley, Alec Coates, Zach Rinker, all in that fight. Top 3 of Ress, Watson, and Wise starting to separate themselves out just a little bit here.
Yeah, I think these guys back here lost hope on taking the lead right now. They're going to try and get it on strategy. As we see James Watson trying to make a move, I was about to say, I think they're all just saving fuel, but obviously if he's going for the lead of that pack, he is not saving fuel.
Yeah, looking at the lap
Scott Wise
times,
trying to fight back now on the inside.
I tell you what, looking at the lap times, they're running... Alex Resch just ran a 42.03, 41.93 for James Watson, 41.76 for Scott Wise. They're anywhere from a tenth to 3/10 of a second off of the pace that the leaders are setting. I don't know, are you going to save enough fuel in that 3/10 of a second to really make a difference?
I think you can. In some of the lower fuel maps, you can bump your miles per gallon up by as much as half a mile per gallon, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, especially in the world of street cars that many of us live in. But here in Indy, these cars around this track get about 3 miles per gallon. So
one car going around.
On a 2.5. As we have them wrecking.
Trouble on the racetrack. We'll see if that will bring out a caution flag. Looks like it will not bring out. Yep, there it is. Caution flag on the racetrack.
I was going to say that extra half mile per gallon can usually save you a lap of fuel for every 5 or 6 laps of saving if you're saving really, really hard.
Looks like this is either the best strategy call we've seen yet today. And it looks like it was. Jason Hand entered the pit lane just prior to the yellow flag coming out. From the looks of it here, everybody ahead of Hand will have to pit. I don't think that will put him to the race lead, but it may at least put him on the tail end of the lead lap where he can then cycle around and not go the lap down from having to pit to run the green. Believe the issue may have been for Zach Rinker. Take a look here. Keep your eye on that car on the outside. Loops it around. Pretty heavy contact.
Looks like he had a little bit of help getting it around there.
Yeah, he may have. So we'll pick up race leader Chris Wilhite as he's going to bring the field down into the pit area. Everybody on the lead lap is coming in. With, I believe, the exception of TJ McMurray, who stopped on lap number 48. Chris Wilhite may have just disconnected here. We see Mario Miranda making his way off the pit road. Chris Wilhite just flat disappeared. So we'll have to take a look and see what the issue may be there for Chris Wilhite. How about, let's see here.
He did have to use his second car earlier in the race, so I wonder if there was a little bit of contact in pit road that ended up hurting him, and he can't fix it, and it's going to end his race there.
Wow, that would be a huge story here. Is Chris Wilhite, who was the dominant force to this point in the race. Looks like TJ McMurray may be serving an EOL penalty. He stopped on lap number 48, so I'm not sure what the EOL may be for here, but that's at least what it looks like. So everybody that made stops the first time around, anywhere from lap 26 to lap 28, now on the same strategy here, stopping at lap number 49. That will get them past the halfway point here on 2 stops. We see several cars taking the wave around. What a tough break for Chris Wilhite.
That's a shame. He had such a dominant car the whole race so far.
See if... Trying to take a look and see if we're able to grab a quick interview with Chris here, but we don't see him available. But as we circulate under the caution flag here, looks like we're going to have the lights going out on the iRacing safety car. So we'll try to pick up an interview for you next caution here. But man, this has absolutely changed everything. Mario Miranda going to be your race leader now. Ty Richter, Charles Teed, Benjamin Combs, Matt Wagner, your top 5. And everybody that was a little bit behind in terms of the strategy calls, now going to be right here at the front of the field. Approaching the halfway point. Pace car is in. Slow start for Miranda. Green flag goes back in the air. Several cars have to wiggle out of line here. They're all going to have to avoid getting the passing before the line penalty. Looking back at the pack, James Watson coming to the inside of Scott Wise. AJ Muscleman fighting up here ahead of the pack as well. Miranda checks out to the lead. Ty Richter trying to fight off both Charles Teed and Benjamin Combs. You can only block one lane at once. Is that right, Patrick?
I believe it was, I forget his name, but from Talladega Nights, you can make a vehicle block 4 lanes at once. However, I don't think these drivers would be able to do it in IndyCar.
Yeah. Ricky Bobby calling the race with us here this evening. Miranda holding on to the top spot here over Ty Richter, Benjamin Combs, Charles Teed, Matt Wagner, AJ Muscleman, Alexander Paul, Jay Shallington, Scott Wise, James Watson, your top 10. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, let the games begin here, because we're going to do the same thing we saw on the initial start of the race. We may start seeing here. Trying to do some kind of
Miranda.
spitball math here. You're going to have to do this race on 2 more stops. I don't see any way that you can do it on 1 more without a ton of help from the caution flag.
Even 2 stops is cutting it real close at this point. If we stay green the entire way, it's going to have to be a 3-stop race. If we get a caution flag anytime more than 5 laps from now, you might be able to make it on a 2-stopper.
Combs looking to the inside of Ty Richter down the front straightaway. How about 2 for 1 for the race lead? Benjamin Combs, aggressive move inside of Mario Miranda.
And it looks like he's going to seal the deal coming out of 2, not just yet. Who's going to have the run coming down the straightaway?
Ty Richter's
like
going to have the big run.
Combs able to seal the deal, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on to it for just another lap with how racy these 2 behind him are.
Oh, man, what a move by Miranda. Way to the outside. Sold the dummy inside. Miranda, the race leader, at the line as we work lap number 56 of 120 here in the grid rival ESRA IndyCar Series Indy 120 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. My name's Chris Graham alongside Patrick Byrne.
Mario Miranda able to seal the deal on the outside. That was impressive. I don't think I've ever seen that one played out here before.
Definitely on the rowdy side of things is what we're seeing in terms of the passes here. Is Combs going to fight right back to the inside. And what this kind of tells me, Patrick, is unless everybody is on the same, running fuel map 2, 3, or 4. Oh, wow. Huge moment down the back straightaway there. Everybody is running full rich fuel map 1 here. Potentially. We'll say it that way, because last lap was 41.72 for Benjamin Combs. 40.97 is his best lap of the race. Tells me they're out doing something a little different here in terms of the fuel maps.
Yeah, I feel like everyone up front is just trying to save fuel, and then when someone wants to lead, they just pump it into that fuel map 1, get the full power out of that engine. It's probably how Mario Miranda was able to make that impressive move on the outside just a couple laps ago. So we're going to see lots of passing here as everyone wants to lead, and nobody wants to lead all at the same time.
Yes, the duality of draft racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You want to lead, but you don't want to give up the fuel that you have to expend to do it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question for these guys fighting for points in this series too, like Matt Wagner. If I were him, part of me would want to be leading as many laps in this race as possible, get the extra bonus points for leading the most laps in the race. But on the other hand, I'd want to sit right back there, right where he is, save that fuel, try and get that race win at the end of the day, and build up his points that way. So, but James Watson, our second place in points right now, is only 2 spots behind. If James Watson can win this race, it will help him seal that points gap. So, it'll be interesting to see what these two do here coming to the close of this race.
Yeah, that's going to be the big one here. Is Matt Wagner has a huge points lead. He really doesn't want to give up, and it's not worth the mistake here with 20 cars still running on the lead lap, 25 cars still running at this point in the race. A mistake here without the backup car being available, that is a huge point swing. Taking a look at that Lucas Oil number 6. Oh, excuse me, well, number 11, but the Lucas Oil number 6 that Robbie Wickens piloted for about half of an absolutely epic rookie year in the NTT IndyCar Series. Matt Wagner piloting here in the grid rival ESRA IndyCar Series. AJ Muscleman, James Watson right behind him. Everybody's staying in line and being pretty well behaved at this point. Top 15 are all basically single file here, with the exception of Charles Teed and Ty Richter, who were just going at it. We see one car heading into the pit road. That's AJ Muscleman. Having to make a pit stop here at lap number 62. Very early on here. A little bit of a surprise to see Muscleman in the pits, as is Isaac Mock. You wonder if there wasn't some damage there to that car. He goes up on the jacks. And caution flag is out. Trouble on the racetrack. Nicholas Wilson, Tyler Hunt having an issue. Get you the hot shoe racewear instant replay. Bags it off the outside retaining wall. Oh, man, there's a couple of cars getting together here. Almost like two separate incidents. Hard hit.
If we do see everyone come in for fuel, this will pretty much be a free pit stop for AJ Muscleman, and it's going to throw him right into the lead.
I was just going to say, having to stop early, does that now provide a big benefit to AJ Muscleman? Because he is still ahead of the race leader. So he's on the lead lap. You just wonder here, as we're just past the halfway point, is a pit stop now worth it? You're still going to have to make one more stop. You can only get out to about lap 89, and if you get to lap 89, it only gets you to 115. So if you stop now, you're still going to have to make an additional 2 stops, unless you're going to go into totally hero fuel save mode.
I feel like the field is going to follow Mario Miranda here. Whatever he does, the rest of the field is going to do. If he feels it's smart to take fuel, they'll do it. And looks like a bunch of cars are actually looking to go on the opposite strategy of him.
Oh,
as he does come in, they all fake
what an
him out.
absolute wow!
Absolutely, that was awesome.
Absolutely,
almost hit the attenuator there.
I was going to say, start the attenuator party early here, Mario Miranda. Everybody going to come down pit road here at lap number 63.
I was just going on about how the field is probably going to do what he does. He ends up doing what the field does. That was an absolute wild card, and this does look like it's going to put AJ Muscleman right in the lead. What a lucky pit stop for that guy.
Yeah, in a very big way, AJ Muscleman picking up a, like you said, basically it's a gimme. Rest of the field making their way off of pit road. It's going to be Mario Miranda, Charles Teed, Benjamin Combs, Matt Wagner, and Ty Richter, the top 5 off the pit lane. But they'll all be chasing this guy, AJ Muscleman, when we come back to Green Flag Racing. See if we can't get a quick word here with Ty Richter. Hi, Chris Graham in the NRM booth. You have a copy on us.
Hello.
Hey, good evening, sir. Interesting strategy call here to stop at lap number 63. By our estimations, this is now still a 2-stop race unless there's some pretty epic fuel saving going on.
I've been fuel saving pretty much the whole race, and I don't know. I just came in and when I saw everybody else coming in, so that was just, I guess, spur of the moment. I don't know who started it. I think that whoever was in second might have been Ben. Started the rush into the pits, but I just went with all of them.
Well, interesting call here, and now the race is going to play out in a very, very different way than what we've been seeing all race. So good luck the rest of the way, brother. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
There you go. There's Ty Richter, currently your 6th place runner. He was 5th off of pit road, but AJ Muscleman able to be the guy who benefits the most. Here, he stopped on lap number 61 is where his pit stop came. It doesn't change the calculus in a huge way. Looks like everybody, Muscleman's going to be about 3 laps shy of making it 7 laps shy of making it the entire distance. But it's going to be about 5 laps short for everybody else. So, I'll tell you what here, Patrick, we're really looking at a pretty interesting game of fuel saving versus not fuel saving as we get down towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, and from what it seemed like, it doesn't seem like either one has a huge advantage over the other, because we've seen guys save fuel, like Mario Miranda. He's sitting in second. AJ Muscleman was going flat out, and he managed to get all the way up to the lead just by having the pit early. So I'm not seeing a clear-cut advantage one way or the other just yet.
No, I think at this point, everybody almost has to be pretty well full throttle here, because even if you stop on the short end of the window at lap number 82, your next stop would come at lap 103, which puts you a couple of laps to the good. We are now in full rich fuel mode. Let's go. Unless you're going to bank on a ton of caution flag laps late in this race.
I was going to say, no matter which way I do the math, there is no way they're going to make it on one stop unless the rest of the race is run completely under caution. So there's no advantage of saving fuel. You have to keep it in that full rich fuel map and just go full send and try to hold off everyone behind you.
Yeah, this is going to be fun here the rest of the way. And we're just past the halfway point, which is pretty spectacular here. I want to remind everybody, coming up at the conclusion of the Grid Rival ESRA Indy 120, round number 12, our final official broadcast of 2021 Season 2. The Indy Pro 2000 Series heads to the absolutely stunning Barber Motorsports Park. BM18s absolutely rip around that place. You don't want to miss that one coming up here at 10:15 in the East. We still got a lot of racing to go yet here. As we mentioned, just past the halfway point. AJ Muscleman going to be your race leader. We saw Mario Miranda bring the field down very, very slowly last time we were going to get a restart. Really bottled the field up. Muscleman grabs the loud pedal, about where you'd expect him to. He'll be the race leader into turn number 1. Everybody gapping themselves out here. If I'm a guy like Mario Miranda, he's got to be licking his chops here, because he's not the fuel save, drive conservative kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just going to go full send. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him try and take it 3 wide if it has to come down to it.
Charles Teed able to come around on the entrance to turn number 3. Top 5 single filed out here. Muscleman, Teed, Miranda, Combs, and Wagner. Ty Richter back there in the 6th position has James Watson about a half second back to him. tightest battle we have on the racetrack right now is actually the fight for 20th position, but that's just making its way through turn number 2. This is where we've seen the incidents all happen here this evening. It's been towards the back of the pack. We'll see how the rest of the race plays out here. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was going to say, I just love watching them dive down towards the inside, trying to break up that draft. It's just such a sight to see when you see the entire field of cars weaving up and down that back straightaway or the front straightaway. It's impressive.
Yeah, you're doing everything you can to break the draft. You wonder, and I've thought this about the real world stuff too, do you scrub as much speed as you do breaking the draft, fighting the car back and forth like that? But one way or the other, it's, like you say, it's impressive to see here is Ty Richter having a look to the outside of Matt Wagner down the front straightaway.
I actually have an answer to your question. It is faster to come down to the inside, leaving turns 4 and turn 2. Just because of the way these cars are set up to turn left, there's actually scrubbing speed trying to hold it straight going down the straightaways. It's easier just to let the car drift down to the inside and then shoot up right before the following turn.
Battle for the points lead. Tightening up just a little bit here as James Watson has come around Matt Wagner. He's setting his sights on Ty Richter, running in the 5th position. Biggest noise we've seen Watson making here this evening.
Say, James, the previous lap just set his fastest lap of the race and looks like the 4th or 5th fastest lap all night out of any of the cars. So he is definitely on the move looking for this race win tonight.
He definitely wants one of these ESRA race wins really, really bad. When we talked to him pre-race, this is the one series that he really wants to pick up a win in. And we'll see what comes later on here, but still only 72 laps on the board. Watson looks inside at Ty Richter. You almost wonder if he's turned the wick up a little bit here because he's running 0.2 a lap faster than everybody else ahead of him. Still Muscle Man, Teed, and Miranda at the front of the field. Benjamin Combs, Ty Richter, James Watson back through 6th. Matt Wagner, Jay Shallington, Jim Brooks, Gary Corley, your top 10. We still have 22 cars on the lead lap. And all basically in one long line.
I was going to say, James looking now around the high side of Ty Richter after breathing up his gearbox, makes the move come by, and he is now up to 5th position. It's going to be fun watching him and Wagner kind of force their way through this field. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those two guys come and steal the win late in this race.
It's definitely something you have to keep in the back of your mind, that's for sure. I mean, it's unreal that we're already talking about pit stops again, but we're getting close to the window opening here, about 8 laps away from the next 2 last pit stops. And Muscle Man is one who, I don't know if it's because he's been running in the rich fuel maps or what here, but he's definitely been lighter on the lap count than everybody else so far here this evening, in terms of when he has to make the stop. The other big question that's going to come into play here is, where are your friends as we get later in the race here? Will AJ Muscleman have any help when he comes down pit road? We can pretty safely assume Benjamin Combs, James Watson, and Ty Richter, I would assume, would pit together, being that they're all under the Team Watson Racing banner. It's who does Charles Teed and Mario Miranda elect to go with here, especially if Muscleman has to stop early.
Yeah, I was just going to say, these guys can start to pit now. I was just doing a little bit of math. The pit window to make it to the end of this race opened up on lap 72. These guys might just be waiting it out, seeing if there's a caution coming out a little bit later, but if they expect to go green the full way, Teed and Miranda could pit together now, trying at the undercut and see if that helps them win this race later on.
It would definitely be an interesting strategy, because I would tend to think you would want your last pit stop to be as short as possible. So if you stop even one lap before you need to, that's one lap more fuel you have to take in the final pit stop. That's almost where you have to wonder, do you start, are we still going to see some conservation going on here? Just purely because you want to take as little fuel as possible on that last stop.
That could be it. I don't see it being a huge issue, just because of how quickly these cars do fuel. The difference between a gallon or two of fuel is probably not even a tenth of a second in the pit box. So unless it's the 7 or 8 pounds of weight these guys are worried about, I don't see the actual amount of fuel they take being a huge issue.
Lap 79 going up on the scoreboard here. Still AJ Muscleman at the head of the field. Charles Teed, Mario Miranda, Benjamin Combs, James Watson, your top 5. And with everybody being pretty well settled down here throughout the field, let's do it one more time here. Go at home, go crank it up. Lap number 81 will go on the scoreboard this time. Down to 40 laps remaining here in the ESRA Indy 120 for the Grid Rival IndyCar Series. And see the comment here from Joe Miranda saying that the short pit could be advantageous. You almost wonder if it's trying to just minimize time all the way around. Even little things can really add up in a big way. Who's able to get on and off a pit road quickest? Here's the start of the answers.
Muscleman having the pit early and pitting alone, this is going to really, really hurt his chances in this race.
I was just going to say, as much as pitting early, it's the fact that he's pitting alone. Everybody else will come around. Now, if he's quick on and off of pit road, looks like he hit his marks cleanly. Car's up. It'll be 4 Firestone Firehawk tires, and 80% of a full fuel cell is Speedway fuel as Muscleman makes his way out of the pits. Race leaders are already on the front straightaway. Once again, this is where the yellow... Oh, that could be a pit exit violation. Swinging out that wide. We'll see if that draws a penalty or not. But here comes the rest of the freight train off at turn number 2. Muscle Man gets out and is able to stay on the lead lap. As James Watson looks to the inside, power move on Charles Teed. Into 3, has to back out of it just a little bit. Team Watson racing cars stay on the racetrack here as lap 84 goes up on the board. We're now into the point where these cars are at pretty much the middle of where their pit window is going to be. We would expect it to close by lap 89. One car just ahead of the race leaders. Definitely not what you want to see if you're one of the race leaders, is fighting lap traffic here. Especially when they're going to throw the block down the front straightaway.
I was going to say, what a massive fizzle by the lap car.
Believe that's Alexander Ball in the 29.
Looks like he may be fighting to get back on the lead lap just in case the caution does come out. He can keep himself in this race.
Benjamin Combs, your race leader. James Watson running into second position. Watson still hung up behind the lap car. Still on the racetrack for Tyler Hunt. I don't believe that will bring out a caution flag. Oh, and it does. Caution on the speedway. Once again, this changes everything. AJ Muscleman.
Every car in front of AJ Muscleman is going to need to pit another time where he pits earlier than everyone else, and it's going to cycle him right back to the lead of this race.
There's the spin for Tyler Hunt. That would not have brought out the caution flag. That maneuver, however, does bring out a caution flag. What a tough break there. Ugly re-entry onto the racetrack.
That's going to be big smooth move of the race right there.
Yes, that is without a doubt the big smooth move of the race. Congratulations, Tyler Hunt. Not really an award you want to win, but an award nonetheless. I say it. Nonetheless, it's still an award that you've won here. Jeff Destino is the unfortunate victim of that. Now, here's where things start to get a little bit interesting here, because everybody that will be stopping here at lap number 87 is about 7 laps short of making the end of the race. AJ Muscleman does not have a prayer of making the end of the race. In fact, Charles Teed staying out on the racetrack. That's an interesting call here.
Yeah, I don't understand that call. He last pitted lap 63. He has to come in soon.
You almost wonder, is Charles Teed going to go full Alexander Rossi here? If he's able to stop with basically at the 1 to green, take the EOL penalty that you're going to have to be serving anyway.
I was just about to say, if he's going to try that, it probably would have been more advantageous to pit now and then just come back in with the 1 to green and just top off the tank.
Could be. Let's We're not going to ask Charles Teed to give away any state secrets here, but another driver who stayed out on the racetrack. Let's get you a look at the two drivers that stayed out here. There's Charles Teed, who is now your race leader. Cullen Johnston staying out as well. He last stopped on lap number 65. He's up 17 spots from the drop of the green flag. Big shout out as well here to Jim Brooks, who's up 19 spots and is your hard charger of the race thus far.
I just don't understand why you wouldn't come into the pits. Unless they're going to try and pit on the green and hope it stays green the whole way through. Then maybe it could work out for them, especially if they pit together and are just able to stay with each other and kind of bunny hop each other and try and make it almost 30 laps to the checkered flag. I just don't see it being possible, but it's Indy. Anything's possible.
Well, I was just going to say, we watched Alexander Rossi clutch and coast. Charles Teed, I would imagine, is doing much of the same here, if not shutting the car off entirely.
If I were him, I'd get up there on the pace car and pull a little Tony Stewart and try and save fuel off the pace car as well.
A pit stop at lap number 94 would be a very big stretch, but it would get Charles Teed and Cullen Johnston to the end of the race. There is also still the uncertainty surrounding everybody else in the field here, because AJ Musselman running in the third position, he stopped at lap number 81. Again, the beneficiary of having to stop early. But he can't make the end of this race. Everybody else on back, that is an absolutely epic fuel-saving run over the rest of this race. Could potentially have as many as 4 different strategies trying to play out at once here. We will do our best to keep track of it for you, but should see the iRacing safety car come in this time, so definitely not the pit with one to go strategy. If you're at the front of the field here, Patrick, you really could make the final stop under green and not lose a lap. Teed ducks way down to the inside, already trying to break the draft. You wonder if this isn't a little bit of teamwork going on here. Cullen Johnston sets the block on the rest of the field, gives Charles Teed just enough room to pit without losing the lap. Doesn't look like the strategy call is going to play out here as Musselman and Combs are able to hold on. Musselman to the outside around Charles Teed down the front straightaway. He reclaims the race lead. We should be able to...
I wonder if Charles...
Go ahead.
So, I was going to say, I wonder if Charles Teed was just trying to get out there and lead a lap just to get that extra bonus point. I wonder if he has a little bit of damage on his car and knows he has no shot at winning or getting good points tonight, so just trying to find extra bonus points where he can.
I guess potentially that could be an answer. We've got a great 3-car battle shaping up here at the front of the field. Musselman, Teed, and Combs. James Watson able to get around Cullen Johnston in turns 1 and 2. Mario Miranda going to come with him down the back straightaway. So IndyCar fight's going to be 5 here in just a couple of laps or so. And Charles Teed is now absolutely sitting in fuel-saving mode in the draft here as Cullen Johnston makes the dive down pit road.
Say, if Charles Teed can make it to lap 98 without pitting, Sebastian Kinder is going to need to go out and buy a bottle of wine tonight. He is so close to making it that 35 laps without a pit stop.
Yes, that was Sebastian Kinder basically saying making an "I'll eat my hat" comment if somebody was able to go that long. And like we said, all he has to do is get through lap 94, and then he can make it the rest of the way. Here he comes this time.
This is going to be the man to watch as this night goes on.
Our math says Charles Teed can make the end of this race on fuel. So long as there's no mistakes getting in or out of the pit box, he'll take advantage of the number 1 pit stop. Or pit box, I should say. But he's got to come out ahead of the race leaders. Down and away, short acceleration to the line. He's back on the loud pedal.
Race leaders are at the start-finish line now. It is going to be a close one.
And at this point, it may not matter if everybody else has to stop. Now, Teed will have to do a little bit of fuel saving here, potentially, unless he gets some help from the caution flag, but he's plenty clear of the race leaders. He's just going to have to do the fight all by himself. This is now the battle for the race lead between A.J. Musselman, Benjamin Combs, James Watson, Matt Wagner, Ty Richter back there as well. Watson to the inside of Wagner down the front straightaway. The other thing that Charles Teed needs at this point is for this race to go caution-free the rest of the way. Or at least to the point now where everybody's going to have to make the pit stop. Because if we get multiple yellows, he's an absolute sitting duck. He may be a sitting duck anyway. Teed currently running in the 19th position. You just saw him come through your screen as Benjamin Combs assumes the lead into turn 1.
I'm going to say, when this pack gets up to him, he's going to need to fight to stay on that lead lap. Just in case the caution does come out, he can put himself back in the lead. If the caution comes out and he is just barely 1 lap down, that is going to kill his chances for winning this race. So, it'll be fun to see what he does when this pack catches up to him.
Then the question becomes, when does everybody else come down pit road? Could be as soon as 10 laps from now, or fewer, for A.J. Musselman as Benjamin Combs looks to the inside, reclaims the race lead. Matt Wagner.
If you're one of the cars further back, like Jason Hand or T.J. McMurray, I don't see why you wouldn't try and come pit now, see what you can make of it, see if it can get you a couple spots by taking the undercut.
Yeah, I think you just run into the issue, kind of that same issue of you're going to come out, if you're that far back, you're going to come out a lap down.
Yeah,
it's a very narrow window to do that.
Yeah, you're going to have to hope it stays green the rest of the way.
Musselman back to the race lead. Wagner and Combs going to battle for second. Through turn number 2, Wagner claims that spot. I think the lap times were are still about a second slower, a little bit less than a second slower than the quickest laps of the races. Muscle Man makes his way onto pit road here at lap number 99. He'll make his final stop of the race. Trying to find where Charles Teed is. He's just ahead of the race leaders. That's really going to determine how successful the strategy was for Teed. If he's able to get out ahead of Muscle Man, if he passes Muscle Man while he's on pit road, Charles Teed could be in very, very good shape at the end of this race.
Looks like Muscle Man is already out of pit road.
Yeah, Muscle Man's going to be exiting turn number 2 here. Once again, though, leader's coming at full speed, and he is very much not in the song yet. Getting close, though, here. You almost wonder if the rest of the field almost has to stop on this lap just so you don't lose anything to the fresh tires that Muscle Man's going to be running here as Combs looks to the inside of Teed. That puts Charles Teed a lap down. Caution now would end his hopes at victory here. They also come around Cullen Johnston. Matt Wagner starting to open up a little bit of a lead here. He's about a tenth and a third quicker than Benjamin Combs last time. Here's Mario Miranda looking to the outside of James Watson down the back straightaway. Miranda claims the 4th position. Race leader Matt Wagner on pit road for the final time, as is Mario Miranda. That's going to move Benjamin Combs to the head of the line here on lap number 103. AJ Muscleman still out ahead of the race leaders. Last lap time for Muscleman, 41.49 seconds. 41.41 for Benjamin Combs. Ty Richter, James Watson, both over 42 seconds. Miranda and Wagner both out of the pits. Very quick stops, 4.92 for Wagner, 5.77 for Mario Miranda. That really may be the difference here. AJ Muscleman, his final stop, 8.12 seconds.
I was going to say, AJ Muscleman is running just as fast by himself as many of the leaders are in a pack. So I think coming to pit now and taking those fresh tires will be the move if any of these guys want any chance at winning this race.
And are any of them in fuel save mode? Combs coming into the pits this time. He will give up the race lead. It will temporarily put Charles Teed back on the lead lap. Well, oh, what a move by James Watson. He goes 2 for 1, picks off Ty Richter for the race lead, puts Charles Teed back a lap down. And they're starting to catch AJ Muscleman here. Muscleman exiting turn 3 as the race leaders are entering the corner. How about Jim Brooks up 26 spots? Currently running in the 2nd position. Down to 15 laps to go. We're in for a show here late in this one. I think these guys are going to try to make it. 42.49 seconds. The last lap time.
This is going to bring out a caution. I wonder if he bounced back up. Yes, it is.
Oh, caution on the speedway. Now, James Watson, Jim Brooks, Jay Shallington, can they make it from here?
I am curious if they can make it. That is going to leave those guys in the lead. However, if they cannot make it and all of those cars down the 9th position have to pit, that would put Matt Wagner in the lead and AJ Musselman following him in 2nd and Mario Miranda in 3rd. So it'll be interesting to see what everyone chooses to do during this pit stop, or during this caution cycle.
Big hit for Alex Ress. He slides up across the racetrack. That is the reason for the caution flag.
I also wonder if we're getting close to the time limit for this race to end. If they won't go the full 120, then can those leaders definitely make it on fuel?
That is a fantastic question. We can show you there's about just under 10 minutes remaining here.
It's going to be close. If there is another caution from now to the end of this race, I don't think they're going to run the full 120. I think they're only going to run 119, 118 as it is. So I wonder if these lead cars have no choice but to stay out and just see if they can make it.
Well, let's see. We're seeing quite a few cars making their way down pit road. In fact, everybody but race leader James Watson, Ty Richter, Alec Coates. Let's see if we can't get a word here with race leader James Watson. James, you've had a heck of a run here so far this evening. Do you think you have enough fuel to make the end?
Oh man, I really don't know, to be honest with you. It's gonna be super close. I really don't think I do, but I could care less about a good finish right now. I want to win Indy, and so I'm throwing the Hail Mary and see what happens.
Well, we are inside of 8 minutes to go here, and time may come into play on this one as well, but I guess now at this point, sort of, you made your bed, now you got to sleep in it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's James Watson.
We'll see.
Currently your race leader. He's going full Alexander Rossi. California cool, clutch and coast. James Watson. Ty Richter, Alec Coates. Also electing to stay out here, and that could be the big benefit for Watson here, is that he doesn't have Matt Wagner right on his rear wing. At this point, everybody from Wagner on back can make it the rest of the way without question on fuel.
It seems like we're only going to have 6 minutes, maybe 5 minutes remaining once the green flag comes out. That's only 6 or 7 laps. So I think these guys, if they save enough fuel, they'll probably be able to make it to the end. Maybe they'll start sputtering coming down the front stretch to that checker flag, but they're definitely going to put on a fight and put on a good show, that's for sure.
Oh, people, give this a like and a share if you're enjoying what you're watching here. Let us know in the comments, who's your pick to win the ESRA Indy 120, presented by Grid Rival. Can James Watson, Ty Richter, or Alec Coates make it the rest of the way on fuel? Will it be Matt Wagner, AJ Musselman, Mario Miranda, 3 very aggressive drivers? The stop for Musselman on lap number 99 does put him to the good in terms of fuel. So everybody from 4th place on back is full rich at this point. And I'll tell you what here, Patrick, I'm starting to agree with you here. This race may hit the time limit before we get these final 10 laps in the books.
Yeah, we're going to have a real short shootout to the end. I think if you're James Watson, Ty Richter, Alex Coates, you have no choice but just to stay in full rich. Pray you can make it to the end of this race and try and hold off those faster cars behind you.
As a reminder, fans, coming up at 10:15, about 25 minutes from now, the season finale for the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. But we've got a fight to settle here at the world's greatest race course. Green flags out. We're underway. Lap 110 on the scoreboard. Watson, Richter,
5 minutes
and Coates
remaining on the board.
jump out an early lead, we'll say here. Richter going to look to the outside. Watson has to give him a little bit of room on the corner exit. That'll move Ty Richter to the head of the line. Alec Coates going to go with Richter. Watson fights back strong through turn number 3. Caution is out. Yellow flag is out. Ty Richter is your race leader.
This race might come down to a one-lap shootout.
Trouble for AJ Muscleman.
Oh, tough break.
See what happened. Oh, he got a whole lot of right side romance. That was Mario Miranda involved in that one as well, I believe. Miranda with damage. He's going to try to limp that car home, but I would imagine that's going to be a meatball here. Meatball flag comes out. You must answer it, or you will be disqualified. That is.
I don't know. With just gonna say, with the meatball flag, you have 3 laps to come into the pits and repair that damage. Caution laps here take about 1.5 to 2 minutes. I almost feel like the race is going to end under caution, and Mario Miranda might just be able to stay out and secure himself that top 5 finish with only 3 wheels on the car.
We're pulling to J.R. Hildebrand to come across the line on 3 wheels. This one's going to be close. That is for sure. Let's see if we can get Ty Richter in here one more time. Ty, leading the race here. This is going to be tight if we get back to green flag racing. What are you thinking
good
here?
On fuel.
You're good on fuel. That's what he says.
I'm totally good on fuel. I just wanna get that green, and I want to go as fast as I can.
There you go, Ty Richter.
Oh.
You can hear the tension in your voice here. Are you worried about the teammates coming behind you? I mean, there are so many ways that this can play out.
Hey, they're teammates, but in an event like this and in a situation like this, all that is out the window.
Oh, that is.
I know he's him right behind me. He's going for the win as much as I am.
Well, there you go. Ty, thank you very much for joining us here. Oh, man, this is nail-biting, gut-wrenching, stomach-churning stuff here late in the grid rival, ESRA Indy 120. We're inside of 1 minute to go here. Mario Miranda
is going to have to come in the pits.
Yep, he does have to come in the pits this time. You almost wonder if he wasn't hoping that he would get the checkered flag if the field was slow enough. But we're down to about 40 seconds left on the time limit here. Lights are out.
Lights are out. I did not see a white flag in that flagman's hand. We are going to have a one-lap shootout for the victory in this race. This is going to be one crazy lap, one you do not want to miss.
At this point, the time limit kind of goes out the window. I don't know if they're able to set it to time limit plus 1 lap.
iRacing is normally time limit plus 1 lap, but sometimes there is an issue where they're going to go green, but only for the time period of the pace car diving into the pits to the time they hit the start-finish line. We may literally have a drag race, or we will have a 1-lap shootout to the win.
Oh, man. This one's going to be fun here, race fans. Hope you're enjoying the show as much as we are. Does James Watson have anything for Ty Richter? This could be quite literally a 300-yard shootout. It could be a 1-lap shootout. We'll see as they come off at turn number 4. If I'm Ty Richter, I am blocking all the way up to the wall, that's for sure. Pace car is in. And there we see it. Checkered flag is out. Ty Richter claims the ESRA Grid Rival Indy 120. Basically under the caution flag. Ahead of James Watson, Alec Coates, Matt Wagner, and Benjamin Combs, your top 5. Absolute heartbreak for James Watson. The pass for the lead happened 6 seconds before the caution flag. Show you the pass for the win here off of turn number 2. Watson, just the tiniest bit of a bobble. And about right here is where we see the caution flag.
I still would not consider that a bad finish at all. He was going for the Hail Mary. It was either a win or finish dead last scenario. Finishing second is far from the worst outcome that could have happened.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Here is, well, they're going to start watching.
As they're having an attenuator party.
I was going to say, they're starting the attenuator party here.
Now, unfortunately for Ty Richter, this track's just a little bit tight to be doing donuts.
Put it in neutral, pop the gear, and let's go, brother. But I tell you what, all in all, a fantastic run for Ty Richter. And let's get our top 3 finishers here up and ready for the interviews. First, we will pick up 3rd place finisher tonight, Alec Coates. And Alec, very good run for you tonight. You were up towards the front of the field all night long. Not a whole lot you can complain about. We'll say it that way. There we go. Now it looks like we have Alec Coates available. Missed you on the drag.
How's it going, guys?
You know what? We had a very good night. We enjoyed that show up here in the booth. What was it like from your perspective? One of the hard chargers of the race, gaining 15 spots from the drop of the green.
Yeah, honestly, if I could figure qualifying out at this place, I probably would have even better results. But overall, as a league standpoint, being one of the admins here, I couldn't be happier with the result of that whole event. It sucks that it had to end under caution. I was hoping we were going to give it one more shot. I really wanted another shot at it, and I know there's a couple other guys that also wanted that. But, you know, I made it clear in the pre-race that there was going to be a timer on it, and we warned them that we were getting kind of close. So, end of the day, great result for me. Happy to be on a podium. I haven't been on a podium since, I think, one of the first few races of our whole thing in season 1. So, pleasure to talk to you guys. And, yeah, overall, it was an exciting race.
I had a very good race, and this is an absolutely huge points night for you after the race at Watkins Glen, you lost 8 spots in the points. You're going to make a big jump here tonight with a top 3 finish.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was flying out to work a kart race out in Utah, so I wasn't actually there. That's why I lost so many. But it's nice to get back behind the wheel here, and great finish. So looking forward to Long Beach next week too. I love the street courses, and I love the road, and I usually come away with something solid there unless I avoid trouble. So definitely thrilled with tonight.
All right, Alec. Well, congratulations on the podium tonight. Who do you want to thank?
Gotta just thank everybody that helps us with this league, especially you guys, our sponsor, all the sponsors that are involved. Yeah, it's came a long way, and I'm happy to see it continue to grow and racing get cleaner from week one with such a big field. But we've really toned it in. Grid Rival came on board an F1 fantasy app, and that's been kind of cool to have them as a title sponsor. So, got to give a shout out to them as well.
Yeah, pretty cool app there. I was just on it before the race started here, so well done getting the title sponsor plugs in, and congratulations. Hopefully, we're talking to you again next week at Long Beach.
Yeah, Chris, appreciate you guys at NRN. You guys do a great job, and I love rewatching it.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Let's pick up a guy who may be in the booth with us here in about 10 minutes or so. James Watson, you were 2 corners away from sealing a victory here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's going through your head right now?
Pain.
Yeah.
I got no my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Just God,
Heartbreak.
a split second.
The last move for the lead, we actually just pulled the replay up here, and it seemed like on corner exit off of turn number 2, it almost felt like you were seeing some net code coming or something because you made a sharp move to the inside. Is there anything you would have done differently in that last lap under green?
I mean, if he had gotten that run a little later, I would have gone to the outside because I knew the outside line side by side was kind of the place to be. So I was going to defend there, but he timed it too well, and he got to my outside first, and it was, if I gotten one more lap or something, I would have gotten back to him and back by him, but it's not meant to be, I guess.
Well, you're coming up to another strong track for yourself at Long Beach next week, and looking forward to talking to you then, but who would you like to thank before we let you go here?
I gotta thank ZAS Designs, you for always helping me out. Yeah, that's about it right now.
Tough break for you, James, but we're looking forward to talking to you again next week. There's James Watson, and we go from the agony of defeat to the thrill of victory. Ty Richter, congratulations. You are a winner in the ESRA Indy 120.
Thank you so much. It's just awesome. This is my first win in any league, anything. Like, thanks so much to James, honestly. I know I passed him on the last lap there. That was the move, but he kind of grabbed me out of nowhere and invited me to this league a couple months ago, and man, I would not even be here without all these guys on my team giving me tips here and there. I've learned so much just from the start of this season to now. Like, it's amazing.
You put on a heck of a show. You did a great job of fuel saving. How did the race play out in its entirety here? Because you started up front and you kind of kept the car there the entire night, even with all the dicing we had back and forth.
I don't think that was kind of my plan from the start. Like, I knew I had a good qualifying time, and I'm like, I know there'll probably be some chaos back there, and if I can just stick it up front and stay out ahead of all that, I can just save fuel. That was my plan the whole time. Like, second, third, fourth, stay in that area, save fuel, stay in third, fourth, fifth fuel mode. So, I mean, it was all leading up to that last little bit at the end. I think that's all I needed.
Well, congratulations on getting your first win here in the ESRA IndyCar Series presented by Grid Rival. Who would you like to thank?
Oh, my whole team, James, NR and the sponsor. Thank you. Oh, just everybody on my team. Destino, Matt helped me first race of the season. Destino's been racing with me every week. Sebastian Kinder showed me some stuff, so it was really nice of him. Just all these guys, such a great team.
There you go, race fans. There's your race winner, Ty Richter. And I tell you what here, Patrick, we got to get off the air fairly quickly here because we got another race coming up here in a few minutes. But, man, what an incredible show here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Before last weekend, I was not a fan of Indy. I found the races here to be kind of boring, and I had no desire to ever go to the track. After last Sunday, the race we had in the real world, and this race now, I am sold. I am a huge fan of this track, huge fan of IndyCar. I can't wait to see what the future holds, not only for this series, but the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well.
It has been an absolutely fantastic show here tonight, and let's get you the results here real quick before we take off. Ty Richter is your race winner by 0.2 of a second over James Watson, basically finishing under caution. Alec Coates rounds out the podium. Matt Wagner, Benjamin Combs complete the top 5. 6th place goes to Zach Rinker, 7th Jim Brooks, 8th Jay Shallington, 9th Alexander Ball, and 10th Gary Corley. 11 through 15, TJ McMurray, Jason Hand, Charles Teed, Brian Voles, and Mario Miranda finishing as the final car on the lead lap. Cullen Johnston, Isaac Bach, Casey Knighton, Alex Ress, AJ Musselman back through 20th position. Sebastian Kinder in 21st, Tyler Hunt 22nd. 23rd goes to Jeff Destino, Scott Wise in 24th. 25th to Nicholas Wilson, 26th, Chris Wilhite, and in 27th, AC Duncan. Absolutely incredible race here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Grid Rival ESRA IndyCar Series. We're coming back here in just a couple of minutes with the season finale of the PM18 Indy Pro 2000 Official Championship from Barber Motorsports Park. Until then, for Patrick Byrne, my name's Chris Graham. It's been a pleasure to have you with us this evening. Have a great night, everybody.
Have you joined the fastest growing fantasy motorsports app yet? On Grid Rival, you can join leagues with your friends and manage your own fantasy team on what race fans are calling, hands down, the best fantasy motorsport app out there. F1 and MotoGP leagues are now live for the 2021 season. Joining a league on Grid Rival will make every race more exciting, more engaging, and of course, more competitive. Download Grid Rival now on your iPhone or Android smartphone. Grid Rival is an unofficial application and not associated with Formula One, MotoGP or any of their athletes.